Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Moran. I'm president of the Galveston Island Democrats. We're sponsoring this candidate introductory forum to let you get to know a little bit about this great slate of Democratic candidates that we have on our ballot this year. We have a candidate for sheriff, two candidates for county district judgeships, two candidates for state House of Representatives, and one candidate for state or Senate. We're going to start by introducing Mark Salinas, who is our Democratic County Sheriff's candidate. Mark is a 20-year law enforcement veteran. He is a BOI who attended Galveston schools and graduated from Ball High in 1996. Got an associate degree from Galveston College and went on to earn a Bachelor's of Science degree in criminal justice from the University of Houston. Mark is married to Michelle and has two sons, Maddox, 9, and Mason, 5. Mark started his law enforcement career in 2000 with the Port of Galveston Police Department, but quickly moved to the Galveston County Sheriff's Department, where he spent 16 years in service. 11 of those years were as the department's Clear Creek ISD liaison officer, working to keep 40,000 young people on multiple campuses safe and sound. Mark currently works for the Harris County Precinct 1 Constable's Office in the Juvenile Investigations Division. He's a former president of the Galveston County Deputy Sheriff's Association, and he is interested in departmental transparency and increasing patrols in unincorporated areas of the county, among other things. Next in line is Teresa Hudson, who is your candidate, Democratic candidate for District Judge, the 405th Judicial District here in Galveston County. Teresa was born in Sacramento, California at Mather Air Force Base, and a few years later, her dad, a native Texan, retired and brought her and her mom and her two brothers and two sisters back to Texas City, where Teresa grew up in South Acres. She attended Sims Elementary School and is a 1986 graduate of Lamarck High School. She received her undergraduate degree from Tulane, the great Tulane University in New Orleans, and graduated law school at Texas Southern University from the Thurgood Marshall School of Law. Teresa has 14 years experience as a licensed attorney and over 25 years of experience resolving disputes and settling disagreements and being an advocate for the people as a seasoned human resources executive and mediator. Teresa's been married for 27 years. Her husband is a retired Marine, and they have two adult children, a 25-year-old daughter and a 19-year-old son. In the running for another county judicial district seat, we have George Lindsey. He's running for the 56th Judicial District Court. George and his wife, Michelle, live in Friendswood. George attended Sam Houston State University on a Reserve Officers Training Corps scholarship, and he went into the Army active duty 10 years, and he led combat operations in Afghanistan and in Iraq. After that active service, George was in the reserves for 3 years, and he was the headquarters commandant for the 75th Training Command at Ellington Field, at the same time attending South Texas College of Law on the GI Bill. George then joined the Harris County District Attorney's Office and has been prosecuting violent gang members. George is very interested in judicial transparency and fairness to everyone in the courts, regardless of socioeconomic status. On to the state Senate race, in which Susan Criss is running for state Senate in District 11. Susan has been immersed in Galveston County Democratic politics since childhood. Her daddy, Lloyd Criss, was a pipe fitter, a union leader who served in the Texas House of Representatives. Susan was raised in Lamarck and graduated from Lamarck High School. She studied law at South Texas College of Law and went to work for the Galveston County District Attorney's Office, where she prosecuted crimes for 10 years. In 1998, Susan ran for and won the 212th district judgeship and served 4 terms on the bench here in Galveston County. Now in private practice, Susan works as a criminal defense attorney, but spends a large part of her time also representing veterans with disabilities. She is now an Islander by choice, and she is very interested in public education funding, healthcare, and emergency management, among other things. Our first candidate for the Texas House is Jeff Antonelli. Jeff is running for House District 23, which includes much of Galveston and Chambers County. Jeff is a BOI. He attended O'Connell High School, got a degree at Austin College. His daddy founded Travel Counselors, a longtime family business on the island, and Jeff worked in that family business for many years. And then in 2008, Jeff bought Shrimp and Stuff Restaurant at 39th and Avenue O, one of the city's institutions. And in 2011, he added a mobile food truck. And in 2015, he opened a downtown Shrimp and Stuff Restaurant. Jeff has worked tirelessly in the community in many areas. He has worked with Better Parks Galveston, Gleanings from the Harvest, the Galveston County Food Bank. He is was a longtime leader in the Boy Scouts of America, and he has been a longtime leader in the Galveston Catholic community in Holy Family Parish. Jeff's wife is Cynthia, and they have 3 adult children, Andrew, Jessica, and Francesca. Jeff, among other things, is interested in making sure that locals retain control of their local governments. The last candidate we have is Democrat for State Representative in District 24, which covers much of western and northern Galveston County. Brian Rogers is a self-employed attorney running for the House. He is a 4th-generation Texas. His great-grandfather served as sheriff of Abilene, believe it or not. And Brian grew up in West Texas and went to law school in Lubbock. After graduating law school, he worked in Austin as an assistant attorney general and left there in 2006 to pursue his passion of writing and reporting, and was recruited by the Houston Chronicle as their legal affairs writer. Brian spent 15 years as a courthouse reporter covering the criminal justice system and crime policy. 2 years ago, he proposed to his fiancée, Dr. Sally Connolly, a professor at the University of Houston, and moved to Friendswood. He says after the shock of the 2016 election wore off, he decided that he would leave the newspaper and get involved in politics, and here he is. I think he's going to tell you a little bit about what he thinks the current pandemic has done, how it's affected our society. All right, so now you've met all the candidates, and we're going to let each one of them tell you why you should vote for them. We're going to start with Mr. Salinas, our county sheriff's candidate.
Kevin, for having me. I appreciate it. I hope you and your family are A-OK with all this pandemic stuff that's going on here in our nation and in our county. Pray that everyone makes it through all right and we get past the hump with this and we can get back to day-to-day operations on a regular basis. My name is Mark Salinas again, and yes, I'm running to be your next sheriff of Galveston County because I have some fresh ideas and new perspective that I want to bring to the agency. Galveston County has issues of, we're always the same good old boy system, status quo. Honestly, I would like to change the perception of law enforcement here in Galveston County and break that mold that currently plagues our county, because for far too long, Galveston County has always been stuck in the past. We are in the 21st century, 20 years into it, 2020, and our agency is still ran as if it's in the 20th century. That's the status quo. We have been doing the same thing over and over again, year after year, and we're expecting a different result. And our county has grown almost 100,000 people, and we're still giving our same services that we had 20 years ago. You know, we need to get past that. We need to start growing with our population, and, you know, start having more officers, and not just in the unincorporated areas, but along helping with our municipalities, helping our other brothers in blue. You know, we need to start having a proactive stance on law enforcement versus reactive, because if reactive is being said right now, then you're already too late. You know, we can't just pray and hope and throw a lot of money at a problem and hopefully that it gets fixed. We can't do that. You know, we're just spinning our wheels. You know, we have new issues of the 21st century. We have new things going on with, you know, human trafficking. You know, we have issues that are stemming here in Galveston County because we're right next to one of the major corridors of human trafficking here in the state of Texas. We have issues going on with the internet crimes against children. We're not even tapping into that. We need to start working with our children and change that perspective that, you know, the fear of law enforcement needs to go away with our children. We need to be more proactive in trying to be role models for them, not just the law enforcement officer that parents sometimes say, hey, I'm going to get that guy over there to come and arrest you. That is the worst thing you can tell your children. I don't want our children to be afraid of law enforcement. They need to come to us in their time of need. And we're not doing that now. We need to instill trust in them so they can come to us during their time of need, and we can be the proper role models for them. You know, our law enforcement officers need to know their citizens, and their citizens need to know who their officers are, because for far too long, all we're doing is showing up, taking care of a problem, and going on about our way. We're not building relationships with our citizens, and that needs to change. You know, I have a lot of things that I want to go through, and we can be here all day, but you know, my name is Mark Salinas. I'm running for sheriff. I hope if you have any other questions, please visit my website, votesalinas.com, and y'all take care. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Very good. We'll move now to Teresa Hudson, who's running for the 405th Judicial District Court. Teresa?
Hi. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I am so honored to be here and am completely humbled by your support. As we continue on this campaign trail, I'm constantly thinking of what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said. The time is always right to do the right thing. And that's where we are right now. It is right now. This is the right moment. It is the right time to do the right thing. And that is challenging the status quo, demanding consistency, and insisting on fairness in the application of the rule of law here in our county. And that's why I am here, to walk with you right now. As a judicial candidate, I cannot have a platform or run based upon a set of ideas or ideals. However, as a judicial candidate, I can tell you that I am honest, I am transparent, and I am a servant leader. I can tell you that I believe in equity, which is a little bit different than equality. I'm here to convey to you right now that understanding, relatability, compassion, decency, and experiences do matter. Experience absolutely matters. The experiences I have as a mediator, one who is impartial, does not take sides in an issue, makes me absolutely qualified to be on the bench. Again, experiences matter. A judge is one who is fair, who's honest, who can decipher through the minutia and get to the heart of the issue, seek and obtain a solution and resolution to those issues. A judge is a resolver of problems, a mediator between parties, the impartial participant. Again, experiences matter. My story is one of activism, activity, stepping up and stepping in, a desire to give back and to do better. My story is your story, and that story will turn Galveston County blue. I leave you with this. Dr. King said, human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle. The tireless exertions and passionate concerns of dedicated individuals. With that, I am Teresa Hudson, your judicial candidate for the 405th Judicial District in Galveston County. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you, Teresa. We appreciate it. And now we turn to Teresa's colleague in the race for the judicial courts, George Lindsey. George, why should people vote for you?
Hey, first off, thank you very much, Kevin, for having us all here. And I just want to say that I hope everyone's staying healthy in this time of crisis. A few things about me, I think, before people should ask for their vote, I think they should know a little bit more about me. And Kevin, you definitely did justice in my introduction, and I appreciate that, including fighting as a combat veteran both in Iraq and Afghanistan. I fought for our nation's freedom and supported our nation's constitution and touched base on almost every continent in the free world. Further than that, going into prosecution and being selected to go after and investigate and prosecute violent gang members, and therefore having a cornerstone basis of understanding the difference between who is someone who may have had a bad day versus someone who may be a violent criminal offender, and being able to adjudicate sparingly and appropriately in those offenses. One thing I'd like to also people know that my work with the Veterans Court program. I'm proud to serve and aid my fellow veterans, because what they go through is so hard for people to try and empathize with. And usually, mostly, only a veteran can feel what another veteran has gone through. And they slip up and they fall. And sometimes it takes someone there to be able to help them up and aid them to help stand them back up on their feet. Lastly, but not most importantly, or not leastly, should I say, is I'm a family man. I'm married to Miss Michelle Lindsey for 15 years, and she's followed me on this journey almost all over the world. And we've been blessed to have our son Jamie with us. But one thing I think is important for people to know, and why they should vote for me, is that I'm not a politician. I don't believe politics belong in a courtroom. I don't believe that politics should sway an opinion for someone to decide to follow the law. I think everyone is entitled to equal right of justice, despite how many or how much coin they may have in their pocket or what their background is. Justice is blind, and is blind so that way everyone has fair treatment under the law. Justice should be transparent. An elected official should be beholden to his constituents and to the people that it supports, particularly that of the judiciary. People should know what an elected official are doing and how they can proceed forward. These are things that I strongly believe in to help us move forward and help us progress as a society. So instead of living in a time where we just decide to throw everyone away and lock them up and throw away the key, we start looking to more progressive methods, looking at different methods to try and support those that we can, and differentiate those that are violent criminal offenders and those that may have had a bad decision and a bad day. Also, I'd like to thank the people that have supported me during this, to include the League City Police Officers Association, ILA 20, ILA 150408, and the Texas Gulf Coast Area Labor Federation. And again, Kevin, thank you for having us, and I hope everyone stays safe and healthy during this trying time as we begin to figure out how we move forward as a society.
Thank you, George. I appreciate it very much. All right, and now we turn to our candidates who want to go to Austin and represent us. The first one is Susan Criss. Susan, I know that you have some interesting things to say.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much for doing this. I think it's important that the voters get to know their candidate so that they can make an informed choice. I started off working for the Attorney General's office in Austin when I was just out of school. I worked at, before that, I worked for the University of Texas in the Ombudsman's office. I worked in environmental protection when I was in the AG's office while I was still going to law school. My first job out of law school was working for the Galveston County District Attorney's Office for Mike Garino. While there, I got a grant from Governor Ann Richards to be a prosecutor to prosecute crimes committed against children and the elderly, our most vulnerable populations. After that, I became a judge, and I served as a judge for 15 years. And then I became a defense attorney. I think that my 30 years of being in and out of court have helped me understand that not everyone has access to justice as they should. And when I was a judge, the most important thing to me was making sure that everyone who came into that courtroom had a level playing field. So I had a sign on the door of my courtroom that said, "This court belongs to the people." And the people who walked through there, especially lawyers, were surprised to see that. Although they believed it, they were surprised to see someone in government who believed that. It was very important to me, though, that everyone had access to justice. And sometimes that meant language access. There was a lot of obstacles that got in the way of people getting a fair time in court that I worked very hard to knock down. As a lawyer, I now fight for people to get justice in court on an individual basis, case by case. I very strongly think that in Austin, that capital belongs to the people too. And I think that there's been an access issue there too. There's been a problem with people, regular people, getting the same kind of representation as the wealthy and the powerful and the extreme partisan people. So I want to go to Austin and pass laws that will be fair, that will create a more just society, that will remove obstacles that allow discrimination to occur, and to see that everyone in our society has access to justice.
All right. Thank you, Susan. I appreciate it very much. And now we will turn to Mr. Antonelli, who's running for House District 23. Jeff, why should people vote for you?
Hey, Kevin, thank you so much for allowing us to be here today. It's a privilege to be in such great company and a wonderful team that's going to go to Austin and to the county to represent the people of our area and our district. And I think that's one of the things that we need to bring back to not only our local government, but back to Austin, is getting the people involved. You know, for too long, the special interests have controlled everything. And now we have the state, as has been demonstrated during this COVID-19 crisis, of the state trying to dictate to the counties and the cities how we can do what, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. We're set up, our system is set up for the cities and the counties to represent the interests of the individuals. And the people from Austin don't know what's good for Chambers County or Galveston County or League City. These are the things that we fought for, and these are the things that we need to maintain. Another reason that I want to go to Austin and represent the people from my community is to make sure that the small businesses and the individuals get fair representation. I've been to many city council meetings, and I'm on the planning commission, and I've heard, you know, situations where big money and big business gets whatever they need, and then the small businessman who's invested his life savings and stuff, you know, is told, well, I'm sorry, you know, you need to go back and jump through this hoop and do that. And that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be that we work together for the betterment of our communities. Another reason that has brought home to me during this COVID-19 area is the tremendous resources that we have in our district. We have the UTMB facility and the National Health Laboratory that are working, you know, not only for betterment of the people here, but also for the entire world on their work towards, you know, finding some vaccine or things that make sense to help our communities. And I want to be a part of what's going to be what they call the new normal. I want to be a part of making sure that we pass legislation that is in the interests of our community and the people that live in our district. And so much more. But I look forward to when we can get out and campaign and I get a chance to meet the people and hear their needs and get together and work with our party and make Texas a better place. Thank you.
All right, Jeff, thank you. And now we turn to Brian Rogers, my fellow former journalist and the candidate for the state representative in House District 24. Brian?
Kevin, thanks. I appreciate you all organizing this. And, I'd like to really actually give a shout out to the people who are going to watch these, the voters who are going to educate themselves about the candidates and the issues that are out there. That's important. And it's not just important, but it gives you a lot of power coming up. So good on you. Good job. In the middle of this pandemic, COVID-19 has exposed a lot of systemic issues that if you followed government and especially healthcare in the past 20 years, you understand that there's a real problem. For instance, if you lost your job, and for a long time we heard people wanted to keep their health care because they liked their job having their health care. If you lost your job, you lost your health care. So if that happened to you or someone you know and love, you're finding out that the decisions that the Republicans in this state made over the past 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, past 20 years are affecting your choices now and what you can do. Because they decided to, at the State House, just play politics and refuse billions of federal dollars. We lost out on the Medicaid expansion. And what the Medicaid expansion basically did was it helped people in the middle, the working poor, sort of the people my parents were growing up out in Sonora, West Texas. It would have helped them to buy health insurance and get quality health care. And, a big problem with the epidemic is a lot of people are just terrified of what it might cost them. Can you imagine? We're in the middle of a global pandemic and there are people counting their pennies worried about what it might cost them. So I'm here because I spent an entire year trying to break down complicated subjects into very simple subjects in journalism. And one of them that I was really passionate about is healthcare. And I got out a newspaper so that I could try and help the Democratic Party. And at the end of the day, there was nobody that was going to run for this seat on the Democratic side. So I said I would, because I didn't feel like it was right that a Republican would have a free shot at a seat. I don't think anybody should get a free shot at a seat. At the end of the day, we're only 9 seats away from flipping the Texas State House blue. And that shocks a lot of people. And if we do take control as Democrats, we'll be able to control things like healthcare expansions and redistricting for voting so people get a fair shot at ballots. Things that they're debating right now, whether or not we should even have mail-in ballots. Those are all issues that are taken up at the State House. And so, if you're in my district, if you're in a district and you're a Democrat and these issues are important to you, help your state legislator, help your state representative get it done. And if you're in my district, I'd like your vote. I'm Brian Rogers. Thank you.
All right, Brian, thank you very much. Well, those are our 6 candidates on the Galveston County ballot. We will have more Zoom gatherings of candidates and forums, etc., as sponsored by Galveston Island Democrats in the coming months. We hope to turn out lots and lots of volunteers who will bring out old and new voters to put these people in office so that they can do some real good for us. So congratulations to all of you. I find this to be an inspiring experience myself. I'm real glad that I got to be a part of it. Thank you all, and we'll see you at the polls.